What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. That is just north of Frandor on East Saginaw near the East Lansing border. The original Couch and the Rube sponsor, because they fit us, because it's an awesome meal, because it's a great drink selection, because it's two distinct vibes for whatever you're feeling. You want a date night? Go to Cask and Company. You want a little more of a pub environment? Front 43. One menu, one drink selection, two distinct vibes. Great places to watch a game or chill. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Big 10 plus his ass.
The urinal or portal.
Really good penis.
That's crazy.
Hey, what's going on, man?
You good?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Why?
No.
Why do you keep asking me that? You asked me that like 15 minutes ago. I think I'm good. I don't know. Why? Because the Lions trade deadline bullshit?
Yeah. I worry about you.
Yeah.
I worry about you.
Nah, come on. Don't worry about me anymore. Worry about me if they lose this weekend. If they lose to the Commanders.
Then I'll worry about
Then worry about Monday's show.
Okay.
It's not going to be fun. But after that, yesterday, I mean, well, it was to be expected, I guess. But, a little surprising.
I think that
It would be nice for one of my favorite teams that I root for to, I don't know, maybe pick up a big in the portal or maybe pick up a bad at the deadline or some pitching help or some offensive line help, because I'm staring at Dan Skipper right in the face as we go into this game against Washington. And we've kept Jared Goff upright for this long. And by the way, I don't know if people realize that. If Jared Goff goes down, we're playing with fire with this offensive line. If Jared Goff goes down, this season's over anyway.
Right.
We're fucked. Yeah. So screw the deadline, right? I don't know. I wasn't expecting the Lions to make any big swings because I guess that's not what Holmes does. But to not make a move whatsoever, to have a practice squad offensive lineman or some shit, I don't know.
I thought they might make a move on the offensive line. I thought it was that just precarious.
Well, we said it on Monday's show. It is easier said than done to find
100%.
a right fit for the offensive line. But why not try? Why not be the Eagles who try? They go out there and they get players that fit. They get rid of players that don't fit, and they keep it moving. They win Super Bowls. They've been to Super Bowls. I don't know why we can't be something to that effect. I understand you don't want to make big Jerry Jones like swings. I don't want that kind of ownership or moves made for my favorite football team like that, like Jerry Jones. But I just standing pat is just wild to me. I'm sorry.
No, I agree, and especially when they've missed on some recent, third round guys. And
well, what do you mean?
Well,
like how recent are we doing? I know Tesla was talked about yesterday because they traded up to get it, but I just feel it's too in a 2025 pick. It's too early, I feel, to start criticizing those. If you want to go back to 2021, 22, something like that, I can understand that. I don't know why we're diving into Brad Holmes' draft, whatever issues he's had. He's the reason why we're here.
100%.
I'm not mad at him. I don't want him fired or any stupid nonsense talk like that. I can understand if you want to go through some of his picks and criticize those because he's not going to hit 100% of these. I understand that. But I don't think that is the issue, some of his draft problems. Because I think the draft picks that he's made outweigh the bad ones.
And Scott Harris is not Brad Holmes' fault. That's something you have to sort of separate. You know what I mean?
It doesn't help Brad, though.
It does not help.
Having Scott Harris and then Tom Izzo being stubborn as hell, too. If you are a fan of Michigan State hoops, you're a fan of Tigers baseball and Lions, you're going, all right, what do we have to do to get into the mix here? I just want to be in the mix.
Well, speaking of MSU basketball, they had a pretty good afternoon here. Jasiah Jervis.
The white elephant in the room. They don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room.
Jasiah Jervis, a top 40 recruit, kid who's a two-way guard. I mean, to me, he defends pretty well. He good player who's going to play right away. Like there are guards that you bring in, you go, maybe that guy is a contributor. We don't know. This is a guy when you watch him, he's going to play right away. Is he your starter? I don't know, but he is a member of the rotation the second he comes in, based on everything I've seen and heard. And the most lofty comparison from somebody who's seen him quite a bit was Gary Harris in terms of MSU and the sort of things he can provide. Now, Gary Harris was right away an impact player, so we'll see if he's able to do that. there is another. You talk about big men and the portal and all that. There's another guy, Ethan Taylor, that they're hoping to get a 7-footer this week. And if you even forget Taylor, you start to put together the potential for next year's roster. If guys come back who have eligibility remaining, you can see how it's a pretty dynamic group, potentially 1 through 4. Now, again, that 5 spot is Jesse McCullough, and who else is Ethan Taylor? Like, what they're going to have to do something there. But you can see how the future is pretty bright there. And I think the most consequential thing about what's happened here in this recruiting class for Izzo is that at age 70, he still kind of has it. He still has his fastball, right? You see a lot of guys, the Jim Boeheims of the world, sort of peter out at the end, and it shows they have enough resources to compete for these guys, and it shows that his cachet still matters, and I think it matters in just getting a sense of some of these recruits. I think it matters more than ever in certain ways because he's really one of the last guys of an era, legends of that era. So his name comes with more than not a lot of those guys are out. And what's also interesting is a lot of the players he's recruiting now, their parents were coming of age when he won his first national title. Like, he's a legend to them, right? It's sort of like what I thought would be the impact of Juwan Howard coaching Michigan with the Fab Five and the age of parents and recruits and how big a deal that was.
Do kids listen to their parents anymore, though?
I don't know. But I do know, with Julius Avent, the guy who the power forward they got early October, that was somebody whose dad came on the visit. I think it was a big deal to meet Izzo, or to be there for it. I probably met him before, but you know what I'm saying. Like it, yeah. I think there is something to that. Carlos Medlock, junior is the point guard who's in this class, who a lot of people like, and I think might be even underrated. I covered the MAC when he was playing there in like 2005 through 2009 at Eastern Michigan. So like these guys are the age of their parents now is like the sweet spot of Izzo basketball for some of these guys. So I think that makes a difference. But in an age, I think the most important thing is an age where we're talking a lot about rev share dollars and who has what and can you still get these guys. And Michigan State's able to play ball here. And I don't know what they're doing with their freshmen versus the guys who are staying. I mean, I have an idea what's happening to the guys who are in their third year, the Cohen Cars, or the fourth year, the Jackson Kohlers. And it's a pretty sizable sum of money. It's maybe tripled. And
is it like Aiden Childs money?
I don't know if it's quite Childs money, but it's good money. It's really good money.
Alessio money.
And so, well, the question is now with the rev share, what does basketball have? How is that funded? And I think a lot of basketball programs are going to struggle with this a little bit. But MSU is clearly playing ball. They're going out and they're putting together a class that if they were to land Taylor, the big guy, becomes one of Izzo's best classes of all time. Right now, it's probably more similar to like Jaden Akins, Max Christie, Pierre Brooks level class. Good class. And especially if you can get a guy, if the problem Max Christie had was not Max Christie, it was that he came into a roster where he had to be the guy. And so if you can avoid that with young players.
What about Pierre Brooks? That was just
that didn't work. Yeah, I mean, the problem with doing all of these exercises, you look at rankings and you're like, well, the group with Xavier Booker, is like the best one of the best classes of all time, but Xavier Booker was overranked and wasn't ready. And so how do you even factor that in? Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. was way more ready than Booker. So, I mean, some of that stuff with the rankings.
But you're telling me if you watched Jaren Jackson Jr. and Booker play at that time, back when they were both the same, around that, you could tell the difference, right?
Yeah, one had. Yes, you could.
That's what I mean. That's all.
You could. It didn't mean that. I mean, I thought Booker would be more ready than he was early, and I think they did too. It doesn't mean that. Like, there was a lot I liked about Xavier Booker, and some of it is just like tenacity. It wasn't just his thighs. We talk about that all the time, but it wasn't just his thighs. But what I didn't realize is the sort of the absence of tenacity he had early on, and how much that would affect him. And
he didn't love ball.
I don't know if that's the case. I don't think
he loved ball.
Is that it?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm guessing.
So anyway, I think this is a good get for Michigan State. I think it's important to, and it's so hard with basketball recruiting now in the age where you don't know what next year's going to look like. Like, everybody talks about Carlos Medlock and now Jasiah Jervis being the backcourt of the future. But you know who's got 3 years of eligibility left? A guy like Jeremy Fears. Like, that guy is going to be around for a while. And so he was he's a redshirt sophomore. So, I mean, again, if he comes back and he plays out his eligibility and the NBA doesn't want him and he feels like Michigan State's a good situation. He's taken care of there. You could have a really good veteran point guard along with some other good pieces. If Cohen Carr comes back for another year, but in this day and age, you just don't know. But at least there's the potential for it. And I think one of the cool things for MSU fans out of this is we've had years in covering this team where there was a lot of angst about the recruiting, and it seeped into the season. So you go back, the best example of this is 2013-14 when they had maybe Izzo's best team that I've covered with Harris and Gary Harris and Appling and Brandon Dawson and Payne and Denzel Valentine is the starting lineup. But everybody was scared that he had lost his ability to recruit, and this is 12 years ago almost now. And, it was Tum Tum Nairn was Plan C that they were bringing in. It was, a bunch of guys who weren't the guys that weren't the big names. And he was missing out on those guys. So it put pressure on that year. And I don't think you can ever say two-year group again like I used to say in this era because you don't know who's coming back, who's staying, what it's going to look like. But you can at least say this isn't the end-all, be-all. This isn't the last group. If it doesn't happen this year, that's it. And I think that's important for people to sort of see a path. If this year winds up being a 7-seed, 6-seed NCAA tournament year that lands in the round of 32, or even if it gets to the Sweet 16, doesn't feel like a team that's in contention, it doesn't feel like, well, that's it. And that just changes the vibe for a fan base. And I think that's one of the things you're seeing now with the way they're recruiting. And also, I'll say this, people talk about the word pledge versus commitment and what's real and what's not. Basketball is different than football to begin with. And the other thing is this is a week before signing day. So you can actually call this a commitment. When a guy holds a press conference at his school a week before signing day, that's generally a good sign in basketball. The odds
Seems
of that
like a
player,
lot of time still, though. Whole week. Change your mind?
Yeah. It would be a big
I know when you came in and said that to me, I'm like, well, what is that? Because you were kind of like, all right, we're going to talk about this. I'm like, does that mean he's going to commit or what's going on here? So,
yeah, I think
I know it's different than football, but I still just.
If you look at the history of basketball, those guys usually wind up coming and wind up playing, and they play earlier, and so I think it's a big day. The Taylor get would be just enormous, not only just because he's a 7-footer, but all of a sudden you could just see next year's roster. It takes the pressure off, a young guy like Jesse McCullough to develop into a guy who's a starter already, and
pushing that Izzo retirement back and back. He's going to coach till he's like 85.
Well, he probably wants at least Mateen Cleaves Jr. That's probably what he's planning on at least. The thing about Izzo, and we see the pictures of Saban on his birthday and on the recliner and watching Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football.
His wife telling him, "Get up,"
yeah,
or sit up, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it is. And
oh man, it's so weird to see Saban just to snap to attention.
He does look like a man who's content in retirement, right? Like life is pretty good for that guy. I don't know if he's truly happy. He was just told to sit up, but they did bring him a cake, and he's watching Sunday Night Football. He's under a blanket.
To me, I was watching the game. Did this at halftime? What are we doing here?
But I don't see that for Izzo yet. I just don't see that's the way he's. I don't feel like he doesn't feel like he's done it. He doesn't feel like he's finished, and he also, if he had Saban's resume, maybe done now too. I mean, Saban won a lot. Saban and Izzo are close friends. Saban obviously began at Michigan State, but Saban is, won at a level. He's arguably the greatest college football coach of all time. And Izzo is one of the greats, but he's not that. So that's a little different.
Lupe would have to move out of the house if Izzo retired, though. Like, I just imagine him around the house all the time. Jesus.
I can't imagine he'd be a joy to be around. So yeah, that's big news for Michigan State, which won its opener against Colgate on Monday.
Oh yeah, how was the crowd? I didn't see any of it because I refused to pay $11.99 for Big Ten Plus.
Yeah, the crowd was decent. The crowd was good, and the crowd was really into it after that Cohen Carr dunk off the backboard from and Jeremy Fears, who really got things going for them in the second half. And Colgate has a couple guys, including Jalen Cox, that point guard who could play anywhere, and like they got a chance to be in the NCAA tournament. So that. They're a respectable side, but I think there's some concern with Michigan State in terms of their ability to oppose their will in certain areas. They were very good on the glass, and we'll learn a lot more about them against Arkansas on Saturday in that realm because Arkansas is big and skilled inside and has a dynamic freshman guard as well, and Darius Acuff, who's a Detroit kid. But I do think that when you look at the shooting guard position and you look at Cohen Carr trying to find his way offensively a little bit early on, there's some things there and there's time. That's the great thing about college basketball is there's time to grow into something. But they're not there right now, and that they struggle to sort of they're not defending at a high enough level to play offense at the level they're playing at. And some of that's one leads to the other, right? But like this Michigan State team, I think, is going to have to be not just an elite rebounding team, but pretty close to an elite defensive team, unless something happens offensively that we're not seeing. Like a Kurt Tang just starts burying threes, and that's it. That guy, there you go. Or just somebody offensively really finds it or just starts to come together. That's still not that fluid. And I know some people thought it was a better offensive performance than I did, and they did get to the line. They beat them up 19-3 on the offensive glass. All good stuff, but I think they're going to lose to Arkansas probably. Now that said, Arkansas beat up on Southern. They've got a freshman point guard. Now he's really talented kid, and they've got some good bigs inside. Like I don't think they're as complete as UConn, who they played in the exhibition, and it will be at Breslin. And so it'll be a good test. We'll have a really good feel for this MSU team, sort of a real-time feel after that game Saturday night against Arkansas, and what should be fun. I mean, I'm glad they're playing a home-and-home series. I'm glad Duke's playing at Breslin. I mean, these are the games that, I mean, they used to happen way more often. I know they're somewhat hard to do, but this is where Izzo can also lean into people. And Calipari's the one who wanted this, and that's great for basketball.
Don't coach my team.
All right, let's take a really quick break, and we come back. Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic. We'll talk Lions, a little MSU football, little U of M football as well. Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. That's just north of Frandor, near the Lansing-East Lansing border. Unbelievable place to watch football this weekend, whatever you might want, or just a date night. And you can go to caskandcompany.com, have an incredible reservation system there. Put in if you want a booth, whatever you want, which side you want to be on, and they will take care of you at Front 43 and Cask and Company. Very pleased now to have the great Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic on. Covers football and the NFL draft there, knows the Lions, Michigan State, Michigan, and just knows football better than most of us yahoos in this business who pretend to know football. And so that's why I like to have him on. Nick, how you doing, man?
Good, Graham. How are you?
I'm good. How surprised were you that the Lions stood pat this week at the trade deadline?
Not surprised just because of what Brad Holmes has not done, I guess, over the years at the deadline. And really, it's just never even been – I was trying to think all the way back now to, like, the very beginning, if there was ever a time that he was ever interested. And unless I'm missing something here, when did they get Zadarius Smith? I guess he might have been the one. Was he a deadline guy? I can't remember. But, like, so there's just not much there. So I didn't think it was going to happen, and especially because they didn't have any of those third-round picks this year. They traded them all to get to Slaw in the draft. And, I wasn't surprised that it didn't happen. It doesn't mean that I think it was the right, I think they kind of hamstrung themselves this year and tried to take care of everything in free agency. But at the same time, my gripe would have been add another edge rusher, maybe another pass rusher. But there are bigger problems that they have that I think people want to see solved, like the offensive line issues maybe that need to be retooled. I don't think you're going to fix that at the deadline. So, some of those are going to have to wait. You're just going to have to make do with what you got.
So that's the next question then. Can they win a Super Bowl with this offensive line?
Yeah, I think in a year like this, honestly, if guys are healthy at the right time, yeah, probably. Because I think that in a one-game situation, if they can get it together, they've shown when it's worked, it's looked really, really good. It's just a matter of what are you getting on which day, apparently. That's what I think what you're dealing with the young guys, especially like with Ratledge and Mahogany's now hurt, which might end up, being a situation where they retool some things and move some guys around. I guess we'll see. I know a lot of people want to point to Glasgow as a struggle spot just because he's old and he has struggled in the past. And, he's not Frank Ragnow, but I think Glasgow's been more or less fine. The issues have been, these guards not knowing what to do in critical spots and critical moments. And then the other thing, too, to add on to that, especially in this last game, was I think the play calling and the game plan in general, not the play calling, but the plan in general, which I would put on Campbell and John Morton, needs to be less like it was when they had Frank Ragnow in there and could bully everybody, and more like it was when they had Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, and they had to be really creative with every single thing that they did. And so I think that they need to go back to the drawing board with some stuff a little bit on offense because that was pretty good. That didn't need to happen the other day. That was not a good loss. That was not a good day against a team that they should have beaten.
It felt very like the best of the 90s Lions. Like it was exciting. There was talent on the field, but like it was, you knew they weren't going to win it in the end. It was like
Calvin era right there. Yeah, exactly.
It was not. I was like looking for Brett Perriman everywhere. I was like, what's going on out here? And they do have. Look, they ought to beat the Commanders on the road. The Commanders are in a worse way than with them. Then you get the Eagles. You get the Giants at home. Another game they should win. There's some real winnable games. Cowboys at home coming up, and then sprinkled in between, you got some doozies that'll be telling whether they can, have any shot at the 1 seed and all that. What, like when you watch them right now, relative to the rest of the best that you've seen in the NFC, where do they stack up, and what would concern you?
Yeah, so I think that if we're looking around the rest of the conference at the moment, you look at a team like Seattle's playing super, good football, but they're also a team that has questions about whether or not this is just like a really good stretch or is this who they are. And I think that's, Philly had just had to make a bunch of deals at the deadline, and they've been fighting all year and, doing their thing and everything else. The Lions, I think, are right there in that group with just about everybody else, in that on any day they could beat anybody in the league, and their best is more than good enough to beat anybody in the league. But at the same time, there are real concerns here that they're going to have to deal with. And I think for me, it's not what we maybe thought it would have been at the beginning of the season. I actually think the defense has a chance to be molded up, shaping up to be really good by the end of the year. They're going to get guys healthy. They're like, some of these guys that are coming back are like almost like free agent, additions or something like that. Or, you're going to get Malcolm Rodriguez back at some point. I think Davenport's going to come back, and maybe he'll stay healthy for more than 5 minutes. I guess we'll see. DJ Reed will be back here in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure about Pascal, but, some of these other guys, are going to come back and play, and they've been really good. Kirby Joseph will be back, everything else. So, they've been good when they're healthy, and I think that the defense has a chance to be one of the better ones on this side of the league. But the problems that I see are, if you're going to try to just line up and bully people the way that you have in the past, without sort of being more creative about it, it's going to be a problem, because I don't think that they scare people the way that they used to over the ball. And Jared Goff is also being, we saw a more erratic, a more like happy-footed Jared Goff the other day because he was getting pressured and hit constantly. And if that starts to be a thing, you're not going to see the same Jared Goff that we've seen. So they need to do some things to change some things to get Goff, a little bit more comfortable, but also to get the run game going and get back to doing the way that they, do things. It's not impossible. It's just a matter of calling different stuff and kind of working on different stuff. So we'll see what happens, but right now they're just not ready to handle everything from a pass pro standpoint, I don't think, with the youth up there.
Yeah, the defense, you talk about the injuries. I think the best thing that can happen to a team is a 6-week injury in week 5, because these guys are going to get hurt at some point. Might as well have it happen early. Yeah,
off-season injury.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's what they feel. That's kind of what, like a Lee McNeil. What did he come back in, like week 6?
Perfect.
It's like a trade.
Yeah, perfect.
Whatever, right?
You don't want somebody who's been healthy all year in week 13. They're just due. Like that's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk a little MSU and Michigan here. When you watch Michigan State football these days, from a talent standpoint, right?
Yeah.
How far away are they? Like, just where do you see just issue after issue?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're a ways away. I think that's probably the best way to put it, and they just haven't been able to keep a roster together. And I think that's what's killing them here. It's hard to say. It's hard for me to say that they're a ways away because, I say this all the time when I talk about Michigan State, because I cover the draft now. Like, there are prospects all over the country for teams all over the SEC. Jeremy Bernard, Zion Young, all these guys that played, that were at Michigan State, that were there, that were good. So, like, they can get players, but right now they don't really have a whole lot. They have some, but it's not enough. And, they're also just kind of like an identityless group. And I watched them in that Michigan game especially, and it was like, I grew up in Michigan. I think you guys did too. That reminded me of Michigan State when I was a kid from the 90s and like the late 80s. Like, it was just like listless. There was nothing there. They were light in the lines. They didn't have enough. You could tell that, they don't really want to be super physical up front. They'd like to do other things. And that to me is not them. They need to be, and they can be better up front on both sides of the ball. There's no reason for them to have offensive lines as weak and defensive fronts as weak as we've seen the last couple of years. And, that's how they win. That's the program. And to me, I think that to me has been sort of evidenced more than anything else is what D'Antonio established from a physical standard, how you win there. Like, that blueprint, I think, could still work. And they strayed from that. So that, to me, it's a lot of stuff, Graham. I think it's just when you watch them, because it's just, I think it can be a lot better. How great, I don't know in this era, right? It all depends on how much money you can raise, but they brought people here before. I think it's a matter of keeping them, and I think that's another question for fundraisers and everybody else there that they have to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are questions about how fair the judgment on Jonathan Smith has been. How fair do you think it's been? I mean, they're probably due for a 4-8 season right now, if you had to guess, and it's after a 5-7 year and lost a lot of games, and they're just not, there doesn't seem to be a trajectory up. But in the old days, year 2 wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be the death knell that it seems to like it's going to be here. How much blame for what they've been able to do, given what they took over, do you think is deserved?
I mean, I think that, it's more than nothing. It's more than I thought it was at the beginning of the year, probably. Because like I just said, there's not an identity here, when you watch them. I mean, and they don't get better offensively. They just leave a lot. They're sloppy. It's one of those. It would be one thing if he walked in here with, a scheme that was ready to install and a quarterback that was ready to take it over, and away we go, and we're going to do this and that, and okay, and that would have been fine. And I actually kind of thought that was what was going to happen, and it didn't. And it's just been this kind of this blah of nothing, where some weeks it might work and you get a couple big plays if the ball's on the money. I mean, last week, you put a new quarterback in there and he gives them a spark. Maybe we'll see what happens there down the road. I don't know, but there's not enough of that toughness to win in this league. And I think everybody's been around this league long enough to know that you can't play like that and beat even some of the middling teams in this league. If you're not going to be tough against the run, you're not going to be tough up front, and you're going to get pushed around like that. Michigan's not even that good, and that was kind of my sort of thing. So I think that there's blame there. They could have done a better job of that. They could have done more there, but at the same time, it's hard to make that full judgment. And I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, you know better than I. But I would hesitate to fire him after this year. I mean, look at the country right now. Look at all these other jobs that are open. And if you don't have a plan of where you want to go, then don't fire him. You got to get a plan together. They know that. They've been through this before. You got to get a plan together where you want to go and what you want to do before you get rid of this guy. So I think that they're better served probably giving him a chance and seeing what happens here, but not much more than another year, I wouldn't think. But, it's a little bit of both. But I think that, they're in a tough spot with maybe if they want to get rid of him right now, too.
Yeah, fundraising, if you keep him, is I think going to be very, very difficult to build a roster. That would be the challenge, and that I don't know if he's warranted.
That's true.
A whole lot of confidence. Yeah. Michigan, you mentioned them not being very good. The Big Ten's not very. I mean, Minnesota's 6-3, Nebraska's 6-3. These teams suck. It's not good for the league. CBS, NBC, and Fox must be going, what the hell? We got a primetime game out of this every.
We got a playoff game going on. Elimination game, I saw somebody say the other day. I'm like, what are you talking about? What the hell?
They're not great. So Michigan's not great, but they're not, look, they're going to, they're going to probably play Ohio State for a playoff berth. And there are worse places on earth to be, especially with their track record against Ohio State. And I can think that Ohio State's going to drub them this year, but I've thought that other times too. So, who knows what they'll do. Mm-hmm. The state of Michigan's program and team, I know there's some angst towards Sharon Moore. And do you think that whole thing is on the right path?
Yeah, that one's really interesting because the quarterback is the real deal. Bryce Underwood is, I mean, he's legit. I did not think he was going to be ready to be as good as he's been this year right out of the chute. And I think if you look at, say 2 years down the road with 10 more pounds of muscle on this guy, this is, we're talking about, a possible number one draft pick, that type of stuff. He has all of it. I mean, and that's for real. He is incredibly young. To be able to handle all this as fast as he has, I think has been a huge, huge thing for them, obviously. But then you look at the rest of it, and they are a young team, and I think that's part of it too. Their offensive line has been up and down, and they're really young. I think they should be better in time as well. But there's really no reason for their defense to be as sloppy as it has been. They still have no receivers at all to speak of. And I think that the fear around whether or not Sharon Moore is really going to be able to take advantage of everything Bryce Underwood provides for you in time is a legitimate concern. Because there are days, more days than not, where I look out and I watch Michigan play and I see a head coach out there trying to be Jim Harbaugh Jr., and I still don't really know who Sharon Moore is. So that's, you know what I mean? That to me is what's going on here. And I feel like at some point, rubber's going to meet the road on that one, and it's going to be jig is up. You got to do something here. We don't know we know that you want to run the ball, but we really don't know much else. So what is this? And I think that that's still a question. And you have this super talented quarterback. And I think people look at that and they say, okay, in a year or two, you're going to be expected to win a national title. Are you ready to do that? And I'm not sure that that's been answered quite yet. So it's it's kind of like the Smith thing, but a more, he's obviously safer, but it's he hasn't really done a whole lot yet, but he's also not done a lot. It's one of those things where it's I don't know. So there's a right to be concerned, but there's also like he needs some time to see what happens here too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if they get creamed by Ohio State, all of a sudden the offseason is kind of dark, and
that's going to change a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Nick, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for bringing your wisdom and fitting us in, and hope to chat soon.
Yes, sir. Anytime, Graham.
That's the great Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic. Jason, anything you take away from that conversation?
Michigan blows, apparently, huh? Sherrone Moore not coming back.
Yeah, I think he's coming back. I just
think
can't,
so?
Yeah, I can't imagine. Now,
and I thought Nick was going to Jonathan Smith like next year, like he's coming back next year. You're just saying like keep him for the rest of this season.
I don't think he's coming back.
There's no way you can bring.
But I mean, I do understand the argument that if you don't have what you're going to do together, like you're not helping the next coach. Like they're in a spot. Like once you decide to move on from Jonathan Smith, or once you do, that's fine. But a big part of the equation now is what you do next, and I think
so. You don't think they've been talking about that? Like,
well, here's what I think. If they do move on, I think you have to have certain things in place, but you also you have to have a direction and a plan. I don't think you have to have it all humming along. What you have to have is a guy that everybody's on board with, because if somebody comes in next year and it's like we're working to get the resources this person needs to be at the top tier. This is somebody people respect and they like, and the football is still just average next year. People will understand, like, you're not going to go from this roster to Indiana's. Now, maybe some people are expecting that, and that's going to be a rough life for people who want that, year after year. But I think...
But you would have to say it's easier to turn a program around in today's football thing, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, we should
have the
expect
resources.
this kind of level of utility for your football team next year. I'd be kind of pissed if we're in the same position, no matter if there's a new coach or not.
You shouldn't have UCLA happen. Right? You shouldn't have the way Nebraska unfolded. You shouldn't have some of these games unfold the way they have. Others of them are understandable for the talent level at hand. I mean, and we've talked about this
competent football. That's what we always say.
Yeah. And so
throw out some competent football where you're competing, and I think people can play along. I mean, hell, people are playing along with the possibility of Jonathan Smith coming back and keeping the buyout and putting it towards players. So you imagine if he was just competent.
I think he could be competent somewhere else too. I think
where do you think he could go?
I don't know.
Jonathan Smith, since you like him so much. I mean, I'm not obviously as a person, you can't sit there and shit on the guy, but as a football coach, I just don't know where this whole shtick works.
I don't think he's nationally perceived as poorly elsewhere as he is here. And so if I were Michigan State, this is also something to consider. And you decide you want to move on, you want to help him move on. You don't want to shit on the guy. You want this to be a 5-7 finish where, this didn't work out. He went 5-7 twice, and he leaves somewhere else. He goes somewhere else. He finds a fit for him. He doesn't, and whereas you fire somebody in November, there's like a scarlet letter on their chest, right? It's just a different, I don't know. That would be I would be trying to play some chess here a little bit if I were in Jay Batt's shoes. That would be
some deep chess.
Yeah, deep chess. All right, we are going to take another quick break. When we come back, the great Harry Gagnon is with us. We will pick some games, get his best bets up next. Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday, I don't know what day it is, Wednesday show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask and Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask and Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday afternoon show brought to you by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. Very pleased now to have the great Harry Gagnon on from Still Against All Odds, the great podcast, and BigAl.com, where he is giving away picks that worth your time. Because just on this show, 7-2-1 last week with picks with us. One loss was a Muncie homer, and of course he hit one in the next game. So Harry is rolling if you're just taking what he's doing here. Harry, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? All good. Thanks.
Glad to hear. All right, well,
We don't even need our picks. Just ask Harry.
Yeah. I know my picks were not great last week.
Tough Michigan State game, guys, last week. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a bad way to lose, and I mean, it's
Still
pretty
covered,
typical.
though, right?
They did cover, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, wait. What was the final score? Yeah, they did cover.
We pushed.
Yeah, we pushed. 3. It was 3, right? 3.
Oh, I saw it at 3.5 somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. First game this week. We'll do some college games from NFL, and then get any best bets from Harry here as well. Indiana -15 at Penn State. I think Indiana is interesting because they will clobber teams if you're not ready for them. And Penn State's coming off playing Ohio State, and obviously Penn State plays Michigan State the next week. Penn State, I think, physically still has some tools, and we saw that early against Ohio State. And I have a sense that this one is about 2 scores, and this one's a little rich, and I'm scared to death to bet against Curt Cignetti. I just wouldn't tell him I was doing it, and so I'm here. I'm on Penn State.
Don't tell Siggy that.
Where are you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, 15 is a big number, but Penn State is ass. And if I'm going to give 15, it's going to be with a team that averages 46.5 points per game, Harry. The Fighting Siggies. I can't go against Cignetti. I hate this game, but give me Indiana, and I'm laying that lumber. What do you got?
I'm with you. I'm on the Fernando Mendoza train. I mean, Penn State did play tough for the first half last week against Ohio State, but just offense is soft. I know they got the 2 stud running backs, but just when you have no passing game, really, they're kind of insignificant. Indiana can roll at any time. You can't risk going against them. So I'm with you. I'm on Indiana.
All right, next game. This one I like a lot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not good. Oregon -6 at Iowa. I love the Hawkeyes here. I think Oregon's good, but they're not like Indiana physically can play with you. They can play. I mean, they're not a perfect team, and I get that. But in Kinnick Stadium, Oregon coming east, I really like Iowa here at 6. If it got inside of if it got down to 4.5, 4, something like that, I get a little. It may not feel as good because I think this could go either way in terms of winning. But I'm going to sprinkle on Iowa on the money line as well.
Ooh.
And I didn't think Oregon looked that great against Wisconsin last week. Give me the Hawkeyes, Jason.
What is Oregon's best win this season? Is it Northwestern? Is that what we're going to?
So they creamed Rutgers 56-10 on the road, which is something. They beat Penn State on the road when Penn State was still Penn State. That would be it, because Penn State was like one of the top couple teams in the country. People thought from a talent standpoint they still had their quarterback, still had their coach. So I think that's it.
I don't know, Harry. I mean, Oregon 3-2 in their last 5 against the spread. I think unfortunately Graham's onto something here in 6. As much as I despise Kirk Ferentz and that Iowa team, give me Iowa at Kinnick at home with the 6 points. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Look, Iowa, their last loss by more than 5 points in Iowa City was November 25th, 2022. And if you guys remember a while ago, before the season started, when we did some over-unders, I did give out Oregon under 10.5 wins for the season. I guess the best win is at Penn State when Penn State was Penn State. Now they're not. So I'm on Iowa too. Give me the 6 at home.
All right. Next game, last college game before we get to the pros. It's a really good pro slate this week. Navy plus 26.5 at Notre Dame. 7-0 Navy against Notre Dame on the road, and obviously this is a team that runs the ball, and does Notre Dame want to make them look bad? But they are 7-0, but they beat Temple by 1. They beat Air Force by 3. They beat Rice by a single score. They're 7-0 because they finish games the way Michigan State does not. 4 touchdowns is a lot, though, in a game where you can do a lot of running the football to get to over 26.5. This is a pretty good line, I think. I am going to be on Notre Dame here. I think they've got a little too much for Navy. I don't think Navy's very good, but I am cautious of the fact that nobody ever tries to run the score up on Navy, and that makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, when you talk about Navy's record, but we're just talking about them covering this 26 and a hook. Yeah. And I just think, if we're going to talk about Indiana and Cignetti covering that lumber with 15 because they score 42 points a game, I'm gonna take Navy to cover this 26.5 because they run for 317 yards per game, Harry. And Blake Horvath, I just think that they can, to cover 26.5, you got to have enough time and enough offense to get that score. And I just think Navy runs the ball well, it keeps it away from Notre Dame, and covers that 26.5. What do you got, Harry?
I hear you guys, and I get it, but this just, it seems like Notre Dame lately just has Navy's number. They beat them by 37 and 39 the last 2 years. Notre Dame's still fighting for a playoff spot, too. So I'm going to lay the lumber here. I think Notre Dame continues to roll like they're doing to pretty much everybody right now.
All right, to the NFL. Good slate. Falcons plus 6 at the Colts. Colts coming off just a disastrously stupid week. Falcons have been very not a team you want to bet on the road. And I love the Colts here. I know this is 6, and it feels like a lot, but I think the Colts are going to get their offense going again. I don't like Penix and that team on the road. Give me the Colts, Jason.
And this game is in Berlin, correct? So this is kind of like Berlin. A neutral.
Take this off completely. We'll do the other games. Sorry, we don't.
You're the one that put this game in here.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was Berlin.
It says Berlin game.
I'm sorry. Fuck Berlin. No, we don't do Berlin. That's too weird.
Spite bet. I'm taking Falcons plus 6. Fuck the Colts.
Do you have something for this, Harry?
I was going to take Indy too. I know they slipped last week against Pittsburgh, but can't trust Atlanta.
The only way we get the NFL to stop these international games is if the whole gambling industry just shuts down and stops betting them, and there's like a lot fewer eyeballs, and people realize, well, this is a waste of time, because that's you just never know what's going to happen there. It
says Berlin game in here. So
I'm sorry,
that's all good.
That up, yeah.
No worries.
The book I was looking at did not specify that, and they need to get better at that.
Give me the Falcons, though.
Ravens, -4 at Vikings. Really interesting game. The Vikings, obviously, J.J. McCarthy had some good moments. The defense can look incredible. The Ravens are essentially, I don't want to say every week's a playoff week, but they got to get on a run here. Picked it up last week. -4 in Minnesota. Give me the Vikings here. I think that defense is for real. I think it's going to be a really competitive game, and 4 is too many points to be a home dog.
Yeah, I don't get this game whatsoever, but I hate the Vikings. So give me the Ravens -4. It just seems 4 just seems like a weird number to me. This is weird. Give me the Ravens, Harry. What do you got?
Well, last week, remember, guys, I did give out a couple pointers why I like the Vikings, and that was a pretty impressive win. That was the best they looked all season, I think. And they are 4-4 right now. Hockenson, McCarthy, Aaron Jones, all look great, and all are healthy. I know what we saw out of the Ravens against Miami. They dominated, and they beat the Bears the week before. But Miami's one thing. Minnesota's different. At home, 4 points. I still don't trust the Ravens' defense in full. Getting more than a field goal at home, give me the Vikes.
Can't blame you.
Yeah. It's all right. Game I'm really intrigued. Patriots +2 at the Bucks. Patriots have been really good this year, and I think they're looking at their schedule, probably a playoff team. Bucks, banged up. Baker Mayfield. I like I like the Patriots here, and I don't know that I trust myself here on this, and exactly why. I'm not as high on the Bucks right now as I was a few weeks ago. Give me the Patriots.
Yeah, the Buccaneers coming off a bye, but man, those injuries, Harry. I think the Patriots are humming along. I like Drake May. Give me the Patriots plus 2.5 on the road. What do you got?
Yeah, some injuries for Tampa coming off the bye week, like you said, but Patriots still at 7-2. I think they could allow a loss here. Tampa Bay kind of needs this one, considering their next 2 games are both on the road, at Buffalo, at the Rams. Just got to win by a field goal. They've been very close in some games, and they've been pulling these out, Tampa. I think they pull this one out at home, too. I'll lay the 2.5.
All right, Lions, -9 at Commanders, a get-right game. Marcus Mariota is the quarterback for the Commanders. Lions obviously they're going to be ornery after last week's game. I expect them to go, and plus this is the Commanders team that knocked them out of the playoffs. I expect the Lions to go in and take care of business here. I think the Commanders are in a bad way. A 9 is a big number in the NFL. It's a huge number on the road. I like the Lions here. The Seahawks are a fantastic defense, and they just overwhelm the Commanders. I think the Lions may not have that defense, but they've got more juice on offense against this Commanders team, and they'll cover. Jason,
what about our injuries, though, for the Lions? That 9 number, Marcus Mariota, I understand, but if you give him time to throw, he can carve you up. I'm sorry. I can't be a homer. I want to say the Lions are going to kick their ass, but it's at Washington. We have a lot of injuries. I'm going to take the Commanders and the 9 points. What do you got here?
Well, I'm done with this Commanders team. Done with this Commanders team. They're garbage. They're trash. Whether Daniels is in there or not, their defense. I mean, that Sunday night game was pathetic. The Dallas game a couple weeks before was awful as well. I understand the injuries for Detroit. They have some too, but this is payback from last year in the playoffs, and Detroit needs this after last week's loss at home against the Vikings. Roll job by Detroit.
Glad you guys trust the offense. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong.
Goff does need to look a little. Goff hasn't been fantastic, that's for sure. He needs a bounce back game himself.
Yeah, so does the offensive line, and the play calling from Morton would be great too. But yeah, I hope you guys are right.
All right, last up, Eagles plus 2.5 at Packers. Good national TV game at night. The Packers are hard to trust week to week. I don't know. They're no longer one of the teams. Like, I look at Seattle as a team that if I'm the Lions, I'd rather not face them on the road in the playoffs than the Packers. Seattle's become that team. Philadelphia,
because they make moves at the trade deadline.
Yeah. Give me the Eagles here as a road dog in what I think will be a really competitive game. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I'm with you. Eagles plus 2.5. That Packers loss to Carolina kind of just changed my whole thought process with the Packers. So give me the Eagles, who make trades at the deadline, Harry, and that 2.5. What do you got?
Yeah, I just think overall you're looking at a better team in Philadelphia than Green Bay. I trust Hurts more than I do Love, and Green Bay's losses to Cleveland and Carolina and giving up 40 and a tie to Dallas, a game they definitely should have won. It's not sold on Green Bay right now. I'm taking Philly.
Isn't it crazy how things change in the NFL? I mean, Packers were after the Parsons trade, everybody was scared to shit from Green Bay.
How about even before? How about when or was it week 1 when Detroit lost in Green Bay? Everybody penciled they were penciling Green Bay already as the best team in the NFC and maybe in the NFL just after that game too. Right. Every week is different.
Go Lions, restore the roar.
All right, Harry, you have a.
By the way, let me just throw this in there, guys.
Yep.
Can I throw in that? By the way, just throwing this in there. Just I know you guys and everyone's Detroit fans, and I get it. But what we saw last week out of Minnesota, I've seen to win the North, and they weathered the storm with their injuries and their 2 games they had to play in Europe and all this stuff with McCarthy getting into. They're 4-4. They're 14-1 to win the NFC North. 14-1. Interesting.
Graham, since you like to gamble against Detroit teams in interdivision,
I'm not going to do it with Minnesota. Seattle's my team. Seattle's the team that's
you got to admit, Graham, that's value.
It is value. Seattle's my team. That's the team that I think has a real chance. And the thing about Seattle too,
for them at 50-1. I got a 50-1 ticket on Seattle.
Great ticket. That's a great ticket. The thing I always get nervous about is a team that's relying heavily on a defense that hasn't been hit with injuries, and it's this point in the season. Like, they're going to have 7 or 8 season-ending injuries in the next 4 weeks. So, like, what will their defense actually look like by the time it comes up? You'd rather have Josh Allen in the quarterback and be able to withstand the defensive back injury, but that's just my own neurosis or whatever it is. Harry, you have a college game that you really like. You like Mississippi State plus 8.5 is one of your best bets this week, correct?
Over Georgia, and even I'm going to put some money on the money line here too, because look, both teams lost in overtime to Tennessee. Excuse me, not both teams, but Georgia won in overtime against Tennessee. Mississippi State lost to Tennessee in overtime. Georgia last 3 wins have been by a grand total of 22 points against Auburn, Mississippi, and Florida. Mississippi State should have beat Florida. They lost that in the swamp at the end a couple weeks back. Gunnar Stockton for the Bulldogs, only one game this season where he surpassed 2 passing touchdowns in a game. And Mississippi State, they got their win in the SEC last week at Arkansas late in the game, put up 38 points. They should have beat Texas the week before when they were up 18 with like 10 minutes to go in the game. I think they got a heck of a lot of confidence. I'm not sold on this Georgia team. They could have easily lost to Mississippi, could have lost to Tennessee, like I said. I think Mississippi State comes in here at home in Starkville. The cowbells are going crazy, and I think Georgia's in for a world of hurt. And this is going to be I love the cover here with 8.5. And again, maybe money line with the Bulldogs, the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
The other MSU. It must suck to be Mississippi State, to be like the second MSU and everything. I wonder if anybody down there knows. Harry, you are a beautiful, beautiful man. We appreciate your wisdom. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
That is the great Harry Gagnon from BigAl.com and still Against All Odds, the podcast.
Did we do it? Are we done?
We did it. We're done. We got through it. Good stuff, man.
Did we all agree on those picks? No.
Not all of them.
All of them? Okay.
But it felt pretty close.
All right.
We appreciate Harry coming on. We appreciate Nick Baumgardner and his wisdom on football. We appreciate, of course, our friends at Front 43 and Cask & Company, the original sponsor of Couch in the Rube. We'll be back on Friday with Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Rube.